As Storm Gerrit swept through the country, damage was forecast.
What the absolute...
But in a corner of Manchester, they got more than they expected. A tornado turning this house inside out and ripping the roofs off other properties in Stalybridge. An extreme example of the poor weather that has put an end to any remaining Christmas cheer.
So I was just sat on the bed and I heard this noise, this rumble. It just got louder and louder. And it was literally just 30 seconds of mayhem, you know, and at the end of it, I just opened the blinds and just caught the tail end of wheelie bins going down the street.
There were no injuries, and what was declared a major incident has now been downgraded. Tameside Council said around 100 homes were evacuated, with officers out all night clearing debris and fallen trees, work that continued today.
These winds are the strongest on Earth, not saying that the one last night was, but associated with tornadoes, we see incredibly strong winds, and they can't really be measured as we would typically measure a wind speed.
Yesterday, on the A9 in the Scottish Highlands, snowfall brought miles of vehicles to a standstill.
And we've been here for 3 hours now, stuck in the snow, along with hundreds of other vehicles by the look of it, stretching back to Aviemore in that direction and southbound down to Pitlochry.
This morning, parts of the road had reopened, but others remained off limits. In Fife, roads were turned into rivers as a waterway burst its banks, flooding that meant people had to be rescued from their homes overnight. Wild weather across much of the country caused significant disruption. Watch this plane try to land at London Heathrow while caught in crosswinds yesterday. A moment that astonished onlookers.
Oh! 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 Oh!
Flights were postponed here and elsewhere. While this was the view from a police helicopter.
Gusts of up to 80 miles an hour brought down trees and power lines at Fort William, forcing travellers to stay put. Flooded stations and trees on the track saw widespread cancellations across train networks. The Severn Bridge in Gloucestershire was also forced to close, with drivers across the country set to face difficult conditions over the next few days. People are often warned against travel in conditions like this, but for some it will be unavoidable, making this a damp end to a usually cheerful time of year. Shingi Marike, Sky News, Richmond in North Yorkshire.